Good day, everyone, and welcome to the SuperTalk. Excited to be here with you all today to talk about school funding. I'm here with Mr. Jake Berry, who is our new Director for Community Information and also the producer of the SuperTalk. I'm also here with Mrs. Laura Williams, who is former principal at Michael E. Fossum Middle School. Very proud of Miss Williams and all she did while at Fossum. Now she's our Director for Special Funding. So wanted to have a quick conversation with her with regard to ESSER funding. And for our community members that don't know, I wanted to let you all know that the U.S. Congress has provided financial support for districts and schools through the Elementary and Secondary Emergency Relief Fund, otherwise known as ESSER. And what it did is it provided funding for schools after we'd gone through the pandemic and all the struggles we've gone through. They came through for us, and we're very, very proud of that. Texas received $1.3 billion in ESSER 1 funding, also $5.5 billion in ESSER II funding, and $12.4 billion in the American Rescue Plan, which is also known as ESSER III. So we're very happy about that, but have been receiving questions from our community and wanted to be transparent with regard to not only what ESSER is, but also how we were going to utilize the funds in McAllen ISD. So Ms. Williams, for those that are out there that aren't familiar with the ESSER funding, give us a quick overview. What's it all about?
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez, and for allowing me to be here. The American Rescue Plan was signed into law in March of 2021, providing $122 billion to school districts across our nation. And the purpose for the utilization of these funds is first and foremost to combat the pandemic that the virus has had on our students, but also to allow our schools to safely reopen and to sustain the safe operations on a daily basis.
And that's what's so important about the funding. When you look at the gaps that we have to fill, and we know that our teachers are going to have to, they've already worked hard. If you look at everything that they've done with remote instruction through 2020 and even this last school year, and how we transformed our whole way of being. And you're a former principal, so you can
Yes.
appreciate everything that our teachers did. So to have these ESSER fundings available to us is very special, and we want to make sure that we're very strategic on how we utilize these fundings. And I know that now in your new capacity as a director for special funding, you'll be able to take your experience as a principal and your relationships with our current principals, and you'll be able to work with our finance team and everybody that's involved, which is the executive leadership team and directors and all stakeholders to ensure that we utilize these funds appropriately. But along that vein, what's just a quick synopsis of how McAllen ISD will be utilizing the ESSER funds?
Okay. Our district did receive just a little over $90 million for ESSER III, and based upon the ESSER III survey that we pushed out to all of our stakeholders, we gathered that information not only from the district administrators, but from community members, parents, students across our district. We've broken it down into four main areas that we will focus on utilizing the $90 million from ESSER III. And those four areas are student learning, student needs, long-term emergency care, and safety. We did break it down into a fifth category, which is the other category that we felt this is a time to have a wish list per se for our district in needs that we need, such as dance facilities, mariachi, new facilities for them to utilize throughout their practices, black boxes for all three of our comprehensive high schools. So we may not be able to utilize the ESSER III funds there. However, we have a good capture of our district needs, and should other funds come available on down the road, or for myself to find other grants to be able to support these projects, then we have a good baseline.
And I did want to let the community know that we're working hard as a staff to make sure that we use the ESSER fundings to really close achievement gaps and make sure that we're providing services to our students, and that we're providing the resources that our teachers need, and that we're going to be as creative as possible to utilize ESSER fundings to cover other expenses that may free up local dollars so that we can do things that Ms. Williams was talking about around fine arts and athletics and our career technology education program. So we'll have to be creative and strategic, but ESSER funding is going to put us in a position to have the very best chance of continuing to perform at a world-class level like we have coming out of a world pandemic. And we're very, very confident in our team And we know that we're going to rise above the challenge like we have since the pandemic hit. So we're excited about what we're going to be able to do with the funds. With regard to ESSER III funds, I've had some questions, Ms. Williams, about construction. Can ESSER III funds be used for new construction?
Yes, it absolutely can be. We have received guidance from TEA that they do caution the new construction just due to the supply and demand base from the pandemic. And since the utilization of these funds is a 3-year time limit, there's a possibility of a carryover for a year, September 30th of 2024. We're not sure with the new construction, will we be able to complete the projects within that time frame? However, again, TEA and USDE do allow for new construction. We do have to submit a pre-approval process for all of our construction-related items, whether it's new and or renovations.
Well, that's good to know, and I hope that our community, I think that the main message is that we're going to be transparent in how we use the dollars. We're going to be creative in how we utilize ESSER funds. We're going to do our very best to free up any local dollars that we're able to free up so that we can be creative and innovative with those particular streams of funding, and hopefully, be able to fill gaps not only instructionally but also with regard to our facilities. So the future is bright in McAllen ISD, and we have a great team that's going to put us in a position to use these funds to the best of our ability, and we're going to keep communicating with all stakeholders. I wanted parents and community members and staff members and students to know that this is the very beginning of the challenge with regard to how we move forward. But Ms. Williams, with regard to submitting the application, when will our application for ESSER funding be submitted?
My deadline is by next Thursday to submit the application. I'm in the process of doing the pre-approval at this time, and then continuing to gather the stakeholder buy-in and input that you just mentioned. We did push our survey out again yesterday to our community, hoping to gather those last-minute results and then take that information and move forward with the submittal of the application.
And that's one thing to keep in mind. If you haven't already completed the ESSER III survey, and the last number that I got was 3,261 respondents. If you haven't already completed that, we encourage our community and our staff to complete the survey, because it's important data for us as we formulate our game plan for the utilization of these funds. And Jake, if somebody is interested in completing the survey, where can they go?
Dr. Gonzalez, they can go to our website, and on the front page of the website, you'll see a big banner that says ESSER III survey, and submit it. It's a Google form, or excuse me, it's one of our forms, and the answers go straight to us, so Mrs. Williams' department can better assess those questions coming in.
Correct.
So once again, to all the community members and staff members and students out there, please submit your survey, because the more information that we get from our community, then the more effective that we can be as we design our game plan. And as we know, our application's going in the very near future, so we're excited about that. And we know that when the dust settles, that McAllen ISD is going to do a world-class job in utilizing these ESSER funds. We're going to do all that we can to provide a quality education for our students, just like we always have. But if you look at what the pandemic has done with regard to challenges, not only for McAllen ISD, but for school districts across the nation and really across the world, these ESSER funds put us in a position to fill instructional gaps, to meet the needs of students from a psychosocial perspective. If there's any issues with mental health, it gives us opportunities to provide different programs and utilize staff in creative ways to make sure that we do all that we can to get caught up, because we're an A-rated school district, as we know. We've earned the post-secondary readiness distinction, which proves that outside of academic performance, we also have great results in the area of graduation rates and SAT and ACT performance and career pathways and CTE participation. So we're doing a great job as a district, and we want to utilize these funds to ensure that we get back to the level that we were at pre-pandemic. And we're proud. I mean, I was talking to Jake the other day. We graduated 1,700 seniors this year. So that just proves that our district is still firing on all cylinders. So Ms. Williams, thank you so much for the information that you gave us with regard to ESSER funding. And this is just the very beginning of our transparency, and this is just the very beginning of our two-way communication with all stakeholders to make sure that as ESSER funds are utilized, that you know specifically how we're going to target them. So once again, Ms. Williams, thank you. Mr. Berry, thank you very much, and all of you have a wonderful day.